shoes, phones, windows to alternate realities. Many of our favourite products are made in China, but designed elsewhere. Well, that narrative's beginning to change a bit.
PopMart shares rise to a record as the CEO announces a new mini Labubu.
And the Game Award goes to Black Myth Wukong.
What we're seeing now is an emergence of Chinese soft power into the rest of the world.
In the past, China was creating all these low-value products, and it's very hard to gain soft power from that. But as you move up the value chain, the natural byproduct is that your soft power also increases.
We will continue to actually see more of them penetrating into various overseas markets.
As the power of China in the global economy has increased, it's an opportunity for them to go and invest in these other markets, similar to the way that American companies probably did in post-war America.
Although no one's saying that's going to be smooth sailing.
A lot of the challenges for Chinese brands, especially in the US, depends a lot on the political uncertainties that have been unfolding under Donald Trump.
Some are locked out of whole markets, while others have invited a certain kind of rhetoric.
The Chinese government has that data.
So with Chinese brands seeming to win over global consumers, could they also help with something much less tangible? Soft power doesn't get much softer than these furry little enigmas. Alright, calm down. These things, they're changing perceptions, one screaming child at a time.
You've got people across the world, across the US, on TikTok, unboxing their Labubus, showing off their hauls, from everyday buyer to a major celebrity like Lisa.
Riding that wave of hype has paid off for the brand behind the world's favourite new furry merchandise.
PopMart had one store when it opened in Beijing about a decade ago. It's now been able to open across the US, not just on the coast, but in areas of the US heartland like Ohio, and that shows just how far its reach has gone.
Since 2024, PopMart's annual revenue has more than tripled.
The overall sales grew as much as 250%.
Addressed the thank you card to TikTok, one of China's other major cultural exports.
TikTok is a really popular app in the US, and it now ranks among the top 5 social media apps, alongside the likes of YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
The app has over 1 billion users worldwide, including over 170 million per month in the US alone.
And it really brought in a whole generation of young Americans and introduced them to a Chinese brand probably for the first time.
This is a crowd that loves to exclusively browse and buy online, a habit that's already second nature to most Chinese consumers. This chart shows the percentage of people who use apps to shop online and make in-store payments. Compared to the US, for instance, where about 40% of all retail payments are made using phones, Chinese consumers are far ahead.
There has been a generation of Chinese companies that came of age during this mobile-first e-commerce era.
Chinese companies have really had this advantage at home of being able to hone those strategies on these consumers.
And now Chinese companies are bringing that to your morning caffeine.
Luckin became China's biggest coffee brand in 2023, surpassing Starbucks for the first time.
That's in terms of sales revenue, and since then its lead has only grown. But it's also true in terms of store numbers. As of October 2024, Luckin had 3 times as many stores in China as Starbucks.
In China, it offers drinks for as little as $1, and it's really forced Starbucks to rethink its playbook in the country.
For instance, Luckin customers can only order through a mobile app. That keeps staff and costs down.
And now Luckin's really bringing that fight to the US. It's opened a number of locations in New York, and it's introduced a few items for its fall menu that have pumpkin spice in them. Luckin Coffee is a great example of Chinese companies not only bringing their playbooks to the US, but now starting to adjust what they're doing to accommodate US tastes.
Another place ripe for expansion is here.
Brazil is very similar to China in the sense that you are seeing growing urban centers.
They also had a shift in their demographic to more middle class, so higher ability to spend.
And more importantly, a good part of that population are a lot younger and more willing to actually embrace some of these digital tools into their daily lives.
The retail apps are some of the largest and most popular now in Brazil, specifically Temu and Shein.
And more are looking to join the party.
Meituan, the food delivery business, planning to spend $1 billion over the next 5 years to launch Meituan in Brazil.
This came just as President Lula was visiting Beijing and signed a deal to allow more Chinese investment in mining, transport, and ports. You'll find this mix of government backing and business expansion in other places too.
There is a government push. They have the backing of Beijing to actually go overseas because China would also like to build its global footprint through its companies.
In part, that's because of pressure at home.
China has been going through factory deflation. These companies are facing downward pressure on prices because of intense competition. In order to survive in China, they have to go overseas because that's where they can charge higher prices, get higher profit margins. One of the biggest challenges that Chinese brands are facing now is, of course, the geopolitical uncertainties. We're talking about tariffs, investigations going on into certain sectors.
There is increased scrutiny on data privacy.
Take Huawei, for example. It was blocked from the US over national security concerns. TikTok's faced similar scrutiny, although there has been some softening there.
I like TikTok. That's why they're saying, are you saving? And we probably will save TikTok.
Efforts to save TikTok is evidence of just how entrenched Chinese brands have become, and this familiarity could be shaping people's views. TikTok is popular in youth culture, and a Pew Research Center survey found that people aged 18 to 34 tend to view China more favorably than 35 to 49-year-olds, or the 50-plus crowd.
For an average user, I don't think they see it as a Chinese app or a Chinese retailer. They just think of it as an app.
And that's arguably what soft power is all about. It's meant to be nebulous and unidentifiable. But even if it is working, it's a long road. That same Pew Research data shows most of the countries surveyed still have broadly negative perceptions of China. So the longevity of Chinese brands may depend more on good business strategy than politics.
There are also a lot of questions about sustainability and whether a company like PopMart that's been able to grow this rapidly is going to be able to carry that forward, or whether it's something that's going to see a bubble that will burst.
Retention has become a big issue for Shein and Temu. Amazon has 93% retained user rate in the US. Temu is like in the 60% range. So people are pivoting on and off their app.
Despite challenges, Chinese brands are probably here to stay, and this adds to the nation's growing global prominence.
We will continue to actually see a world that is incorporating more Chinese products as well as Chinese-backed services into their daily lives and into their work, with or without them knowing it.
It's a natural transition of the Chinese economy that eventually leads to the cultivation of the soft power as well.